James, hi. Good evening.
Hey, Matt. How are you doing? You well?
Yes, good. Thank you. Good. Thanks for taking the time out. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Great. Hey, so I just want to welcome you and everybody else to the first AMA since we went live. Pretty exciting times, lots going on at the moment, and I know you and your team are super busy. So what we've done is we've come together and we've been gathering the feedback from the community as we've gone live, and we're going to go through a few questions that we've picked, and then for the second half we'll go through a few more questions from the live chat. So anything that comes to mind while James is talking, please drop it in the live chat. We'll get straight onto that after we've done the questions. So before we do that, James, first and foremost, how did it go?
Yeah, it was, it was stressful, to be honest with you. There was a lot of work that was going on in the background. Tech were under a lot of stress and pressure, but so was everybody else. There was marketing, there's sales, there's all the various other areas of the entire business. So yeah, it went extremely well, actually. A lot smoother than what I was anticipating. The team done fantastically well, as they always do. So I'm very, very proud of absolutely everybody to help us achieve everything that we have thus far at FINXFLO.
Great, thank you. And lots of positive messages from the community, and especially those early adopters. What was probably the one thing that maybe you didn't expect that you were pleasantly surprised by?
I would say the execution. I was expecting for there to be maybe some issues there, but there wasn't. The execution was very good. It was very smooth. The tech team done an amazing job. So that was something that there was a little bit of concern before going live, but obviously once we were live and testing the system now with actually real participants instead of doing the internal quality assurance testing that we were doing internally, you never quite know until you flick the switch on. And once we flick the switch on, we've done absolutely amazingly. So yeah, I'm very, very proud and pleased of everybody.
Great, thank you. Great summary from you and the team. So we've got quite a few questions from the community that we've picked up along the way. So we'll move on to them. So first and foremost, there was a couple of questions around liquidity. Now, I think you said there's 25 liquidity providers on the platform. Do you maybe want to just talk a bit about how that's going now you're live, what you're seeing, and also what the future plans are?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, it's no longer 25. We've been actively working. So our partnerships director has been actively working to add more and more liquidity providers. So we're now up to 35, 36, I think, global liquidity providers. These are obviously liquidity providers which are market makers as well as exchanges themselves. So that's gone absolutely fantastically well. So obviously our major USP is depth of book, depth of liquidity, better execution than what you're able to get anywhere else. So we're constantly looking to add more and more liquidity providers to offer a much better service for all of our customers. And that's what I firmly believe that we are now achieving by aggregating even more. And this really isn't just the only place where we're going to stop. So we're not only just going to stop with spot crypto, we're also going to move into CFDs, futures, and options, and we're also going to be offering the same aggregated global best price available. So realistically, the way that we're able to see the growth in all these other areas is obviously a super exciting time for the company and certainly myself.
Wow, that's very exciting. I didn't know about the options, James, because I certainly see a lot in crypto Twitter now. There's a lot of people who've maybe moving away from leverage and looking at options as a longer term play as the markets flatten out and become a bit mature. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, so options for me have always realistically been used as a hedge. So it's always nice to have a hedging mechanism whilst you're kind of a slightly riskier long or short with a little bit of leverage. It's always nice to have the options in case the markets goes against you. And obviously, since day one, FINXFLO, we've always set ourselves out to be a one-stop shop and a one-stop solution for all crypto assets. So that's why we're not going to stop growing just at spot. We're going to be moving into all these various other markets and be offering a plethora of various other assets as well.
Interesting. On the subject of assets, that was a real theme from the members of the community I spoke to, and there was a few questions about when are more assets coming, when are the coins coming. I think there's only 4 pairs at the moment. So what's the plan for adding some additional pairs?
Yeah, so something that obviously people really have to remember is that we are a regulated entity. Now, being a regulated entity, we can't just go along and aggregate, 50, 60, 70 trading pairs. Some of them may be security tokens. Some of them might be privacy tokens. If we are seen to be allowing nefarious activity, we will be shut down pretty quickly. So where we're slightly different to other exchanges due to our regulation, there's an entire process. So the process is where the compliance team have to approve the tokens. They have to do a token assessment where they're reviewing and basically assuring that the tokens themselves are not privacy tokens, they're not security tokens, etc. Once they have once they've taken that view, it gets passed over to our legal team. Our legal team then confirm that they also are in agreement. Once that's been completed, it then goes over to our custodian. It then gets integrated into our custody, and then we roll out the tokens. Now, we are rolling out 11 this week. There's 7 going live tomorrow. There's another 3 that will be going, or 4 that should be live by the end of the week. And then, due to this process that I just mentioned with regards to regulations and legalities, it then means that we have to follow a certain process in order to ensure that we're adding the right tokens. So then week on week, we'll be adding another 8. We already have 70 tokens that are pre-approved. These are all the tokens that everybody's been mentioning within the Telegram chat. I've seen most of them mentioned, and most of them have been approved. So just watch this space. By the end of September to early October, I would envisage that all 70 assets will be fully tradable on the FINXFLO platform.
That's fantastic, and that's a great number, 70 by the end of September, and that will give us probably full coverage of the top 40 or 50 coins, with the obvious exceptions that you mentioned for security tokens and privacy tokens.
Correct.
Excellent. So, I mean, that's really good news about the new platforms onto the token. Just maybe focusing a little bit now onto the FXF token. When will that be available for trading on the platform itself?
So the FXF token will be available on the platform by the end of September to early October, again, around that general kind of timeline. It is something that is in our roadmap. So we obviously want the FXF token to be actively traded. We're also going to be adding it against other pairs. So it's going to be FXF against Bitcoin, against Ethereum, which is already tradable, by the way. But then it's also USDT, USDC. So we are going to be offering multiple pairs. So this is something that we are going to be executing. It is already on the roadmap, and it's something that the team are working very hard on. However, there are certain features that come slightly before this, and then obviously we have the other exchange listings, which I'm sure you'll come on to later during this AMA.
Sure. And so I suppose as the new pairs roll out, there'll natively be an FXF pair for the majority of them.
Correct. Yes.
Great. And talking about other exchanges, what are the plans around maybe it being available on other exchanges?
Yeah, so we've been in conversations with obviously a bunch of exchanges with regards to token listings. The landscape has really been changing within the cryptocurrency industry due to regulation. So we were initially speaking to one particular exchange, and that particular exchange has been in a little bit of hot water with lots of regulators around the world. Hint, hint, not telling you who we were talking to. But we then decided, that we're not going to proceed any further. So then we backtracked, and now we're looking at another potential partner. I would imagine again it will be in the next 2 months maximum. I'm unable due to being bound to an NDA that I'm unable to kind of announce who exactly that exchange is. It is essentially a top 20 tier 1 exchange. And we are aiming to be on there within the next 6 to 8 weeks. We envisage there will be a huge marketing push, a collaborative approach. So yeah, we will be ensuring that there will be a token listing at a centralized exchange very, very shortly.
That's great and really exciting news. But I suppose as we grow beyond Singapore and onto global exchange, it does bring up the question of countries, and we've talked about regulation with certain exchanges. What's the current situation with regulation and signing up? Are there countries where you're limited?
Yeah, of course, but those limited countries are extremely limited, right? Because we are only offering spot crypto right now. However, that will change when we move into CFDs, futures and options. However, it is currently limited by maybe 2% of the world's countries are unable to sign up. That's due to international sanctions. So if you're not an international sanctioned country, then you should be a-okay. What I suggest is signing up to the platform, because a majority of those countries are actually non-English speaking. So if you're listening to this AMA, then you're most likely not going to be a part of one of those countries. So I just suggest to sign up, get involved, start trading. And we are obviously taking a view, like our compliance team are extremely pragmatic. So we are trying to open up most jurisdictions. However, there are some that we're just unable to operate in due to international sanctions.
Sure, and then of course will there be an according split, because you did say there's CFDs and options coming, and I know regulation does differ slightly with them. How do you see that will shape out?
Yeah, so CFDs, options, futures, CFDs will actually be added to the platform Q4 this year. Options and futures will be Q1 next year. The reason why it's slightly different is that it's leverage products, and leverage products are treated differently by each international or regional regulator. So depending on your country, it does really vary. We will be offering these products to institutional traders first to begin with. What that will essentially do is add a lot more liquidity to the platform. And then we are requiring licenses across Europe, across 27 member states for our CFD future and options license. So that will be where retail customers will also be able to enjoy those products with an aggregated price feed, giving global best price available always.
Excellent. Very exciting. There's a lot of really interesting things happening in Europe, and especially London, with some of the fintech investments which have happened over the last month or so. Great. So I think we're getting into a bit more of a conversation about the mechanics of trading now. I think this is quite interesting, where we've talked about the token. We're getting into the mechanics of trading. But what I'd like to know is, how does the token benefit me from a trading point of view? What are some of the things that I can do to gain discounts? How will the structures work?
Yeah, so discounts is something that we're obviously really driving towards. Something that we've executed recently is our rebate model. Our rebate model obviously entices customers to be able to get 3 times rebates. So just by simply using FXF tokens in order to trade, it then means that you're going to get 3 times the amount of savings than what you would ordinarily get if you were trading that amount of volume. We're also executing in early September our staking and farming contracts. So our staking contract is where you're able to jump tiers So essentially, you would be able to get much higher savings across all of your executed trading pairs by staking a certain allotted amount. So going into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, obviously starting at tier 0. We've also listened to the community, because initially we had our tiers slightly differently. So we executed them starting from $100,000 worth of trading flow. And then we listened to the community and they said, hey, well, what about us retail customers? So once again, we've really kind of listened to that feedback, and we've ensured that we're able to lower those tiers down now to only $1,000 being traded each and every 24 hours, and everybody is able to enjoy rebates and ensure that they're getting exchange savings. So they're getting a lot better pricing. And then by the time that we done our market analysis, and you average from our global top of book or from our best price, we're at least normally around 50 to 100 basis points better off than our competitors. What that essentially means with the extra layer of 3 times rebates and that utility around the token, it then means that our customers are even better off, and that really gives our guys and all of our traders a much better edge and advantage over the entire crypto markets.
That's great. So I see that as a very virtuous circle where better discounts will drive more traffic, and then which will in turn drive better discounts as well as price. That's great. I mean, it's a really strong message, James. Thanks for sharing that. I think probably the one question which the community really had was about marketing. We know that's a great token. We know it's a great structure, but how are we planning to get the message out there?
Yeah, very good question. And I know that's something that's been very, very key to the community, and it's also very key to us internally as well. So we want people to know about us. We want to shout loud and proud. The marketing team have done an absolutely magnificent job so far, and they continue to do so. They have just literally launched a few campaigns. So we're now got some campaigns that are launching now on CoinMarketCap, on CoinDesk. We're also looking at strategic partnerships. We're also looking at sponsorship deals as well. So I know that there's a bunch of other kind of exchanges out there that have been announcing sponsorship deals. We are actively looking in the market for these to strategically align ourselves for a lot more brand recognition. We're also going to be working with lots of crypto conferences and crypto venues. We're going to have lots of sponsorship of those type of events as well. And right now it's more about brand recognition. It's more about what is it that FINXFLO does? How do we do it? And what makes us better than anybody else out there in the market? So I really understand the concern, but I really feel that the roadmap for the marketing department on what's being planned alongside Twitter campaigns, there's all these various other campaigns. We're going to be putting a hell of a lot of money and marketing and budget behind the marketing push to really make ourselves a global leader.
Excellent. That sounds really exciting. So that wraps up the questions we took from the community. I'm just going to now go to the live questions. But just while we do that, I know that you were on NASDAQ TV fairly recently, James, and you were looking back over the last couple of years. It's been a roller coaster ride for you, but how are you feeling now about the crypto market, given where we are in the cycle? How does it feel looking back over 2 years?
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting market right now, right? So, it went from super bullish to the sell-off that we saw to, the centralized exchanges that stopped pricing. Lots of people got a little bit scared. Everyone was sat on their hands. And now it's kind of moving back into a bullish market. But, it's for me, it's kind of in no man's land. So like we're really trying to look for the next breakout. Is it to the upside? Is it to the downside? I also remember that there was a lot of what I class as the fudders, the people out there saying, hey, it's going to break 30 and then it's going to go to 4, for the price of Bitcoin. And I was just like, look, there's the market's too established now. The regulations are catching up. A majority of the institutions will not allow it to go that far anymore. So that's really testament to the overall cryptocurrency industry, to where we are as a whole. I think the longer that it maintains, around the 40-ish level, the longer that it maintains around there. I personally feel that it could go 50, 60, 70 again quite easily if it doesn't break those levels. But right now, for me, it is in no man's land. We are sat there where, is it going to be a long-term short? Is it going to move into a full bear? Is it going to move back into a bull? We don't really know. So the market's taking a breather. Normally in the traditional world, in the traditional markets, it's just waiting to either go long or short. There are a lot of indicators that obviously people use, and people come with different methodologies. For myself, I'm more of a momentum kind of guy. So that's where right now, sometimes you just have to say, hey, I can't read the market. I don't know where it's going, so I'm going to sit on my hands. And that's where I currently sit right now.
Yeah, wise words indeed, James. Sometimes no trade is the position.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So moving on to the community questions, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this one, but we'll give you an opportunity just to talk about it. Is what percentage, Rulaloop asked, what percentage yield will be given on the FXF token? Now, I know that you probably can't talk about numbers at this stage.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. Just so that you're aware, sorry, what was the name of the individual that
Rupaloop?
Rupaloop. Okay, so Rupaloop. To answer your question directly, we have a treasury department. So that treasury department will be analyzing the markets, looking at the APYs. But obviously, we want to position ourselves slightly more attractive to anywhere else. So we will be offering a slightly higher APY to ensure that you are well rewarded for staking and farming using FINXFLO and our platform. We do want to ensure that we encourage people to take part. So we'll make sure. So that obviously means we need to be a little bit competitive with our offering, which I'm absolutely certain that the Treasury Department will be able to deliver upon.
Great. So it'll be Market Plus, and you've got a great team working on it, I think, is what I'm taking away from that. A really interesting question from John, and I know it's difficult in crypto, but James, what are the plans for 2022?
Oh, okay. So Q1, after adding CFDs, we'll then add futures, and then after that, we will add options. Then I would say Q2 will be looking for strategic sponsorship deals. I would imagine around Q2 next year, we'll be announcing something that's quite big, which will be a big explosion, which will then obviously extremely please the entire community, because we'll be a global brand that will be recognized globally, not only within the crypto industry, but hopefully in the wider spectrum and the wider view. And then, of course, there's going to be a lot of more functionality to the platform. We already have the multi-screen charting, the one-click trading, but we're going to add a lot more liquidity providers. We're going to add lots more products. We're going to ensure that we acquire the regulations. So we're looking forward to hopefully soon or shortly getting our license here in Singapore. We're looking at obviously expanding the team. So we're obviously got a very good team here in Singapore. We're going to be moving it into a much larger office. So right now we're in office space for about 100 staff. We're going to be moving into office space for about 400 staff here in Singapore. We're then going to be moving and expanding our European teams, as well as really something that's also super important is really listening to the feedback, not only from our retail community, but also from our institutional community, because they give us constant requests that we're also listening to, like post-trade settlement, leverage, etc. So there's going to be an ever evolving. Now, there was something that one of the tech guys said to me the other day, which he said, hey, the platform is going to be completed completely finished in the next, say, 6 months. And I actually said, well, no, it's not, because the platform's always going to be evolving. It's always going to be getting better, and the offerings are going to continue. So 2022 certainly going to be an extremely exciting year.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. And I do like the idea that the platform will never be finished. It's, as Jeff Bezos said, it's always day zero. There's always more functionality to add and more things to do for customers. But yeah, great question by John there. I'm not going to do well with this name, but Tugger Nomero is asking, when will we be able to start staking and deposit? Is there a rough time frame for that?
Yeah, so Rogan, it will be staking will be available the first 2 weeks of September. So by the 14th of September, you'll be able to stake tokens. And then instantly you'll be able to jump the tiers. So you'll be able to enjoy much better savings from all of your executed prices, which is absolutely fantastic. And then the second part of the question was, sorry, Matt?
It was just about when you'll be able to start depositing and staking.
All right. Okay. So yeah, it will be the first 2 weeks of September that will be fully completed. So yeah, we will be actively announcing that, I guess, within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Great, and obviously keep your eye on Telegram and Twitter. I think we've got the greatest name of the evening, which is Exponential Beast. Hey, James and Matt, since the buyback of the FX token has been discontinued, how is the team planning to increase the demand, reduce the supply of the token?
Yeah, fantastic question. Exponential Beast, really, really good question and a great name. Right, so the way that we do that obviously is with the free X rebates. So I suggest you go onto FINXFLO.com, go onto Rebate Model. The way that you will get 3 times rebates is essentially it'll be an automatic calculation. So Treasury have already worked that out. So basically, we will deduct your FINXFLO wallet with some FXF tokens. However, you'll get 3 times rebates. You'll get 3 times the saving instantly. So then we'll constantly be building up and accruing the FXF tokens, and then obviously we need to be able to use those tokens, because in the same sense of the same process, we're going to have a lot of people staking tokens, and they're going to be wanting to receive their APY. So we're going to be like essentially generating tokens. So taking them out of supply, we will then be paying them for the smart contracts and staking, and any other excess tokens will just be held in Treasury. I have been asked a question about, can we burn tokens? No, we can't, because if we start burning tokens, we will change the characteristic of the token, and then that will simply mean that we will then turn into a security. We are not a security token; we are a utility token. So yeah, that I hope that really answers the question. So we're constantly looking at reducing the supply continuously. And then I guess the final thing is when we were setting up FINXFLO and getting the smart contract executed, we kind of ensured that we took that into account. So if you look at many other projects, they have billions and billions of tokens. We've restricted the total token supply down to only 150 million. So that should naturally, as we're building up our treasury positions, we will be naturally restricting the supply from all the people that are getting the 3 times rebates.
Excellent, good answer and really clear. Thank you. Great question from Lionel TOH. I'm not sure what the TOH stands for. And he's asking, when will there be off-ramp functionality in the platform, making it easier to deposit or withdraw funds?
Yeah, again, another great question, Lionel. We are going to be integrating with on and off ramp. We've already negotiated with some of the on and off ramp providers. We will be providing this service ourselves at some stage, I guess, within the next year. So it goes back to the same question I think John asked earlier with regards to 2022. So we will be integrating the on and off ramp. And then towards the end of 2022, we are acquiring more licenses. I can't tell you what license that we are acquiring, but we're getting more licenses across the US. And one of these licenses will allow us to complete on and off ramping. So that's something that we will be providing ourselves. But in the interim period, we will be working with on and off ramp providers. We're looking to integrate them Q4 this year. So before the turn of 2022, you'll be able to on and off ramp without having to go anywhere else, but remain on FINXFLO's platform.
Great. So it very much becomes part of the ecosystem with options, CFDs, on and off ramp. So it really does become a one-stop shop. We've got 2 last questions here. I know you're super busy. You've got another few more meetings to go on to. The first question is a little bit of a light-hearted one from John. Are you sleeping better now the platform's live?
Oh, very, very well. Again, another amazing question. So thank you, John. Not really, no, because as soon as the platform goes live, then we start getting active feedback from the community and people that are using the platform. And there's bugs and there's issues and there's stuff that we need to kind of ensure that we've ironed out. They are all kind of ironed out now, but now it's really the next sprint or the next push. To really add all of the functionalities and features that we feel the platform needs. So now we need to kind of work even harder to ensure that we are kind of beating our own roadmap and our own expectations. We are one of, we're very, very proud of being able to ensure that we meet and beat the community's expectations and ourselves. So now is not the time to take our foot off the gas. Now is time to even push even harder coming into, the next festive period. So we've got another 2 or 3 months before the festive period begins. So we really want to kind of push super hard in through this last quarter, really acquire a lot of users, get a lot of retail, get a lot of institutional guys, gain a lot of feedback, and obviously make sure the functionality continues to improve, so that we have more and more traders using the platform.
Great. And as you said earlier, there's about 70 pairs to bring on board as well. So no rest for the wicked, as they say. So I think to wrap up, we'll probably ask one of the cellular other questions I'm really interested in is, can you talk a little bit about the MAS and some of the other licenses as well?
Yeah, sure. So the MAS license, we have applied. We've been in not negotiations, but like we've been in discussions with the MAS, talking about all the policies, processes, procedures, just making sure that they've kicked the tires, that we are running the right policies and processes, and that they're comfortable with how we're approaching things. The MAS are actually fantastic. They're an amazing regulator. They're very collaborative and they're very forward thinking when it comes to crypto. So we're very grateful to be here in Singapore and to be running a Singaporean entity. Then moving on to Europe and the European legislation. MiCA's slightly behind the curve. They're probably 2 or 3 years away, I feel, before any real crypto regulation gets rolled out. However, that's why we've gone for more of the CFD futures and options license in Europe. So the actual license has been applied for. We are anticipating that it should be Q1 next year that the license should be granted and approved, and that kind of coincides perfectly, co-jointly. It's asynchronous, so it works perfectly with a platform with adding the futures options and underlying derivatives. So it means that we're able to offer those to retail customers, being fully regulated, ensuring that we are in line with European regulations. And then being passporting across 27 member states. And then obviously the US, we are looking at trading security tokens as well. So we are looking at now adding the broker-dealer license. We've already applied for it for some time with regards to FINRA and the SEC. That's ongoing. It's slightly slower. Because FINRA and the SEC are a little bit more cautious when it comes to crypto entities, but it is a license that we are pushing for. We also have within the American jurisdiction as well, we have the FinCEN license that we're now acquiring. So there's lots of stuff happening within the USA, because we believe that that's a key strategic market for the entire business.
Great summary. Thank you, James. Thank you very much for the AMA. There were a few questions we didn't get to. I'll make sure that they're put into the Telegram. People can address them there. So if you do want to check back on your question, and we unfortunately didn't have enough time to get to it, they will be in Telegram. And James, really, maybe 2 minutes just to finish us up.
Yeah, sure. So I'd really like to say, again, a huge thank you to all the community and everybody that's that's really supported us from day one to where we are now, or even if you've joined us recently, we really appreciate your support. We really appreciate all of your active feedback. The feedback is actually listened to. We do take it on board, and then we do make the relative improvements to ensure that we have the best possible product offering. However, Rome or any platform was not built over one day. It will take us time. However, we are persistent. We continue to push, and we continue to push until we are a market and global leader. So I really thank you for absolutely everybody, and finally, obviously, the staff as well. So everybody everyone that works for FINXFLO in our global offices, whether you're in Miami, Singapore, Cyprus, New York, Wyoming, the list continues. We are really appreciative of absolutely everybody that puts their heart and soul into this business and helps us get where we're going. Really appreciative to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, James. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.